Hello and welcome to this continuing second look exploring session looking at The Three Ladies of London by Robert Wilson. We got up to scene 10 at the end of the last session. We had vague hopes we might get towards the end, but we didn't. We still got about a third of the play or so left to do, and we're slightly shorter and straightened circumstances in terms of readers today, but most of us are playing similar parts to the ones we played the last time, except for the parts we've now inherited from other people, so it won't quite match, but it's close. There were some good overlaps. So reading Simony, Usury, Beadle, Fraud, and Judge Nemo is...
It's Alan Insop.
Reading Gerontus as well as Conscience is...
Hello, I'm Lynn. I'm coming to you from the northwestern United States today.
Reading Dissimulation, Tom Beggar, Pleaseman, and Diligence is...
Rachel in snowy Canada.
And reading Cogging, gaining Mercatore today, as well as continuing with Lady Lucre and reading Wily Will is...
My name is Alexandra, and I am here to insult some ethnicities.
Yes, we're just getting to that element of the text. I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading Simplicity, Judge of Turkey, Clerk, and Lady Love. Actually, I read Lady Love last time, so there's a bit of continuity there. General content warnings. There are some problematic elements, especially in terms of we've got an Italian stereotype joining a Jewish stereotype in Turkey, where I'm sure there are some other stereotypes. There are all sorts of calumnies against overseas workers, and just general early modern problems with this text, some of which can be hand-waved away by using the word satire, and some of which probably can't. However, we're going to see what comes out of it when we complete the text. So, without any further ado, we're going to dive into scene 11. There will be no stage directions. There is a song, but we're not really going to be singing unless someone decides to sing. And just general chaos. So, let's see how it goes.
Sir, although you be my master, I would not have you to upbraid my name, but I would have you use the right skill and title of the same. For my name is neither Cogging nor Scragging, but ancient Cogging. Sir, my ancestors were 5 of the 4 worthies, and yourself are of my near kin.
Indeed, thou sayest true, for Cogging is a kinsman to Dissimulation. But tell me, have you taken the names of the guests?
Yes, sir.
Let me hear after what fashion.
There is, first and foremost, Master Forgery and Master Flattery, Master Perjury and Master Injury, Master Cruelty and Master Pickery, Master Bribery and Master Treachery, Master Wink It Wrong and Master Headstrong, Mistress Privy Theft, and Master Deep Deceit, Master Abomination and Mistress Fornication, his wife, Ferdinando Falseweight and Frisset False Measure, his wife.
Stay. Fornication and Frisset False Measure are often familiar with my Lady Lucre, and one of them she accounts her friend. Therefore, they shall sit with the bride in the midst and the men at each end. Let me see. There are 16, even as many as well near as able to dine from the summer parlor at the playing table. Beside my fellow Fraud and you, fellow Simony, but shall I have a great miss for my fellow Usury?
Oh, take no care of that. He came home yesterday even, no longer. His pardon was quickly begged, that by courtier. But, sirrah, since he came home, he had like slain good neighbourhood and liberality, had not true friendships between them stepped between them very suddenly. But, sirrah, he hit true friendship such a blow on the ear that he keeps out of all men's sight. I think for shame, or for fear.
Now, of my troth, it is a pretty jest. Hath he made true friendship hide his head? Sure, if it be so, good neighbourhood and liberality for fear are fled.
But, fellow Dissimulation, tell me, what priest shall marry ye?
Marry, that shall an old friend of mine, Master Dr. Hypocrisy.
Why, Will you not have Sir Peter Pleaseman to supply that want?
Indeed, Sir Peter is a good priest, but Dr. Hypocrisy is most ancient. But, Cousin Cogging, I pray you to invite the guests, and tell them that they need not disturb their quietness. Desire them to come at dinner time, and it shall suffice, because I know they will be loath to so early rise. But at any hand will Dr. Hypocrisy that he meet us at the church very early, for I would not have all the world to wonder at our match. It is an old proverb. 'Tis good having a hatch before the door, but I'll have a door before the hatch.
I will about it as fast as I can hie. I'll first to that scald, bold knave, Dr. Hypocrisy.
No dissimulation. How darest thou marry with love, bearing no love at all? Thou dost nothing but dissemble, and thy love must be needs be small. Thou canst not love but from the teeth forward. Sure, the wife that marries thee shall highly be preferred.
Tush, tush, you are a merry man. I warrant you I know what I do, and can yield a good reason for it. I may say unto you, what, and the world should change and run all on her side, then I might by her means still in good credit abide. Thou knowest love is ancient, and lives peaceably without any strife. Then sure the people will think well of me, because she is my wife.
Trust me, thou art as crafty to have an eye to the main chance as the tailor that out of 7 yards stole 1.5 of durance. He served at that time the devil in the likeness of St. Catherine. Such tailors will thrive that out of a doublet and a pair of hose can steal their wife an apron. The doublet sleeves 3 fingers were too short. The Venetians came nothing near the knee.
Then for to make them long enough, I pray thee, what did he?
2 pieces set an handful broad to lengthen them withal. Yet for all that below the knee by no means they could fall. He, seeing that, desired the party to buy as much to make another pair. The party did, yet for all that he stole 1/4 there.
Now sure I can him think. He could his occupation. He could his My fellow fraud would laugh to hear one dressed of such a fashion. But, fellow Simony, I thank you heartily for comparing the tailor to me, as who should say his knavery and my policy did agree.
Not so, but I was the willinger to tell thee, because I know it to be a true tale, to see our artificers do extol fraud by whom they bear their sail. Come, let us walk and talk no more of this. Your policy was very good, and so, no doubt, was his.
Signor Mercatore, why do you not pay me? Think you I will be mocked in this sort? This is 3 times you have flouted me. It seems you make thereat a sport. Truly, pay me my money, and even now, presently, or by mighty Mohammed, I swear I will forthwith arrest ye.
Pray bear with me 3 or 4 days. Let me have much business in hand. Me be troubled with letters, you see, that come from England.
Hush, this is not my matter. I have nothing therewith to do. Pay me my money, or I'll make you before to your lodging you go. I have officers stand watching for you, so that you cannot pass by. Therefore you are best to pay me, or else in prison you shall lie.
Arrest me, thou seal knave. Marry, do, and if thou dare, me will not pay the 1 penny. Arrest me, do. Me do not care. Me will be a Turk. Me came hither for that cause. Therefore, me care not this so much as 2 straws.
This is but your words, because you would defeat me. I cannot think you will forsake your faith so lightly. But seeing you drive me to doubt, I'll try your honesty. Therefore be sure of this, I'll go about it presently.
Marry, farewell, and be hanged, spitten, scald, drunken Jew. I warrant ye me shall be able very well to pay you my lady Lucre have sent me here this letter, praying me to cousin the Jew for a love of her. Therefore, we'll go to get us some Turk apparel, that we may cousin the Jew and end this quarrel. To the wedding, to the wedding, to the wedding, we go to the wedding, a begging, all three. Tom Beggar shall brave it, and Wily will too.
Simplicity shall nave it wherever we go.
With lusty bravado, take care that care will. To catch it and snatch it, we have the brave skill. Our fingers are lime twigs, and barbers we be. To catch sheets from hedges, most pleasant to see. And to the alewife run, leave seldom to sail, and spend the money merrily upon her good ale.
To the wedding, go we. To the wedding, a begging, all three.
Now, truly, my masters, of all occupations under the sun, begging is the best. For when a man is weary, then he may lay down to rest. Tell me, is it not a lord's life in summer to louse one under a hedge, and then, leaving that game, may go clip and call his madge, or else may walk to take a wholesome air abroad for his delight, when he may tumble on the grass, have sweet smells, and see many a pretty sight. Why, an emperor for all his wealth can have but his pleasure, and surely I will not lose my charter of liberty for all the king's treasure.
And I tell thee, Tom Beggar, by the faith of a gentleman, this ancient freedom I would not forego if I might have whole mines of money at my will to bestow. Then a man's mind should be troubled, keep that he had, and you know it were not for me, it would make my valiant mind mad. For now we neither pay church money, subsidies, 15s, scot, nor lot. All the payings we pay is to pay the good ale pot.
Fellow beggars, you cousin me, and take away all the best meat, and leave me nothing but brown bread or fin of fish to eat. When you be at the alehouse, you drink up the strong ale and give me small beer. You tell me 'tis nothing than the strong to make me sing clear. Indeed, you know with my singing I get twice as much as ye, but an you serve me so, you shall sing yourselves and beg alone for me.
Stand prating here. Come, let us go to the gate. Mass, I am greatly afraid we are come somewhat too late. Good gentle Master Porter, your reward do bestow on a poor lame man that hath but a pair of legs to go.
For the honour of God, good Master Porter, give somewhat to the blind, that the way to the alehouse in this sleep cannot find.
For the good Lord's sake, take compassion on the poor.
How now, sirs? You are of vengeance hasty. Can you not tarry, but stand bawling so at my lady's door? Here, take it among you. Yet 'twere a good alms deed to give you nothing, because you were so hasty and kept such a calling.
I do beseech you not so, sir, for we were very hungry, that made us so earnest, but we are sorry we troubled ye.
Look how greedy they be, like dogs that fall a-snatching. You shall see that I shall have the greatest alms, because I said nothing. Fraud knows me, therefore he'll be my friend, I'm sure of that. They have nothing but lean beef. Ye shall see I shall have a piece that is fat. Master Fraud, you forgot me. Pray ye, let me have some my share.
Faith, all is gone. That comes too late. Thou seest, to all is given here. By the faith of a gentleman, I have it not. I would I were able to give thee more.
Oh, sir, I saw your arms hang out of a stable door.
Indeed, my arms are at the painter's. Belike, lie hung them out to dry. I pray thee, tell me what they were, if thou canst then descry.
Marry, there was never a scutcheon, but there was 2 trees rampant, and then over them lay a sour tree passant, with a man like you in a green field pendant, having a hempen halter about his neck, with a knot under the left ear, because you are a younger brother. Then, sir, there stands on each side, holding up the crest, a worthy ostler's hand in a dish of grease. Besides all this, on the helmet stands the hangman's hand, ready to turn the ladder whereon your picture did stand. Then under the helmet hung cables, like chains, and for what they are I cannot devise, except it be to make you hang fast, that the crows might pick out your eyes.
What a swat is this? I'd been better to have sent him to the back door, to have gotten some alms among the rest of the poor. Thou Freitas, thou canst not tell what, or else art not well in thy wit. I'm sure my arms are not blazed so far abroad as yet.
Oh, yes, sir, your arms were known a great while ago, for your elder brother Deceit did give those arms too. Marry, the difference is all, which is the knot under the left ear. The painter says when he is hung, you may put out the knot without fear. I'm sure they were arms, for there was written in Roman letters around the hempen collar, given by the worthy captain, valiant Captain Master Fraud, the ostler. Now God be with ye, sir. I'll get me even close to the back door. Farewell, Tom Beggar and Wily Will. I'll beg with you no more.
Oh, farewell, Simplicity. We are very loath to lose thy company.
Now he's gone, give ear to me. You seem to be sound men in every joint and limb. Can you live in this sort to go up and down the country a begging? Oh, base minds, I trow I'd rather hack it out by the highway side than such misery and penury still to abide. Sirs, if you'll be ruled by me and do what I say, I'll bring ye where we shall have a notable fine prey. It is so, sirs, that a merchant, one Mercatore, is coming from Turkey, and it is my lady's pleasure that he robbed should be. She hath sworn that we shall all be sharers alike, and upon that willed me such companions as you to beseek.
Oh, worthy Captain Fraud, you have won my noble heart. You shall see how manfully I can play my part. And here's Wily Will, as good a fellow as your heart can wish, to go a-fishing with crank through a window, or to set lime twigs to catch a pan, pot, or dish.
That's true, for I tell you I am one that will not give back, not for a double shot out of a blackjack. Oh, sir, you bring us a bed when we talk of this gear. Come, shall we go, worthy captain? I long till we be there.
Aye, let us about it, to provide our weapons ready, and when the time serves, I myself will conduct ye.
Oh, valiantly spoken. Come, Wily Will, 2 pots of ale will bestow on our captain courageously, for a parting blow.
Sir Gerontus, because you are the plaintiff, you first your mind shall say. Declare the cause you did arrest this merchant yesterday.
Then, learned judge, attend. This Mercatore, whom you see in place, did borrow 2,000 ducats of me for a 5-week space. Then, sir, before the day came, by his flattery, he obtained 1,000 more, and promised me at 2 months' end I should receive my store. And before that the time expired, he was closely fled away, so that I never heard of him, at least this 2 years' day. Till at last I met with him, and my money did demand, who sware to me at 5 days' end he would pay me out of hand. The 5 days came, then 3 days more, then 1 day he requested. I, perceive that he flouted me, have got him arrested. And now he comes in Turkish weeds to defeat me of my money, but I trow he will not forsake his faith. I deem he hath more honesty.
Sir Gerontus, you know if any man forsake his faith, king, country, and become a Mahomet, all debts are paid. 'Tis the law of our realm, and you may not gainsay it.
A most true, reverend judge, we may not, nor I will not against your laws grudge.
Signor Mercatore, is this true that Gerontus doth tell?
My lord the judge, the matter and the circumstance be true, me know well, but me will be a Turk, and for that cause me came here.
Then it is but folly to make many words. Signor Mercatore, draw near. Lay your hand upon this book and say after me.
With a good will, my lord judge, me be all ready.
Not for any devotion, but for Lucre's sake of my money.
Say I, Mercatore, do utterly renounce before all the world my duty to the prince, my honour to my parents, my goodwill to my country. Furthermore, I protest and swear to be true to this country during life, and thereupon I forsake my Christian faith.
Stay there, most puissant judge. Signor Mercatore, consider what you do. Pay me the principal. As for the interest, I forgive it you. And yet the interest is allowed amongst you Christians as well as in Turkey. Therefore, respect your faith, and do not seek to deceive me.
No point to the interest, no point to the principal.
Then pay me 1/2 if you will not pay me all.
No point to the half, no point denier. Me will be a Turk, I say. Me be weary of my Christ's religion, and for that me come away.
Well, seeing it so, I would be loath to hear the people say it was long of me thou forsakest thy faith. Wherefore, I forgive thee, frank and free, protesting before the judge and all the world to demand penny nor halfpenny.
Oh, Sir Gerontus, me take your proffer and thank you most heartily.
But, Signor Mercatore, I trow, will ye be a Turk for all this?
Signor, no, not for all the good in the world, me forsake of Christ.
Why then, it is as Sir Gerontus said, you did more for the greediness of the money than for any zeal or goodwill you bear to Turkey.
Oh, sir, you make a great offence. You must not judge me conscience.
One may judge and speak truth, as appears by this. Jews seek to excel in Christianity, and Christians in Jewishness.
Well, well. But me thank you, Sir Gerontus, with all my very heart.
Much good may it do you, sir. I repent it not for my part. But yet I would not have this bolden you to serve another so. Seek to pay and keep day with me. So a good name on you will go.
You say well, sir. It does me good that we have cozened the Jew. Faith, I would my lady Lucre the whole matter knew. What is that me will not do for her sweet sake? But now we will provide my journey towards England to make. Me be a Turk. No, it will make my lady Lucre to smile when she knows how me did the skull Jew beguile. Mistress Love, I marvel not a little what coy conceit has crept into your head, that you seem so sad and sorrowful since the time you first did wed. Tell me, sweet wench, what thou ailst, and if I can ease thy grief, I will be pressed to pleasure ye in yielding of relief. Sure thou makes me for to think something hath chanced amiss. But really tell me what thou ailst, and what the matter is.
My grief, alas, I shame to show, because my bad intent hath brought on me a just reward, an eager strange event. Shall I be counted love? Nay, rather lascivious lust, because unto dissimulation I did repose such trust. But now I moan too late, and blush my hap to tell. My head in monstrous sort, alas, doth more and more still swell.
Is your head then swollen, good Mistress Love? I pray you let me see. Of truth it is. Behold, a face that seems to smile on me. It is fair and well-favoured, with a countenance smooth and good. Wonder is the worst to see two faces in a hood. Come, let's go. We'll find some sport to spurn away such toys.
Were it not for Lucre, sure, love had lost all her joys. Why, but must I be whipped, Master Constable, indeed? You may save your labour, for I have no need.
I must see thee punished. I must needs see thee punished. There is no remedy except thou wilt confess. And tell me where thy fellows are become that did the robbery.
Oh, indeed, Master Constable, I do not know of their stealing, for I did not see them since we went together a-begging. Therefore, pray ye, sir, be miserable to me, and let me go, for I labour to get my living with begging, you know.
Thou wast seen in their company a little before the deed was done. Therefore it is most likely thou knowest where they are become.
Why, Master Constable, if a sheep go among wolves all day, shall the sheep be blamed if they steal anything away?
Ay, marry, shall he? For it is a great presumption that, keeping them company, he is of like profession. But dispatch, sirs, strip him and whip him. Stand not to reason the question.
Indeed, 'twas fraud, so it was not I, and here he comes himself. Ask him if I lie.
What sayest thou, villain? I would advise thee hold thy tongue. I know him to be a wealthy man and a burgess of the town. Sir, and it please your mastership, here one slanders you with felony. He saith you are the chief doer of a robbery.
What says the rascal? You know, it standeth not with my credit to brawl. But good Master Constable, for his slanderous report, pay him double, and a greater matter command me you shall.
Oh, Master Constable, must the countenance carry out the knave? Why then, if one will face folks out, some fine repairment he must have.
Come, Sir Jack Sauce, make quick dispatch at once. You shall see how finely we shall fetch the skin from your bones.
Nay, but tell me whether you be right-handed or no.
What's that to thee? Why wouldst thou so fain know?
Oh, marry, if you should be both right-handed, the one should hinder the other. Then it would not be done finely according to order. For if I be not whipped with credit, it is not worth a pin. Therefore I pray, Master Constable, let me be whipped upon my skin.
Whereon dost thou think they would whip thee? I pray thee declare that thou puttest us in mind, and takest such great care.
Oh, I was afraid you should have worn out my clothes with whipping. Then afterward I should go naked a-begging.
Have no doubt of that. We will favour thy clothes. Thou shalt judge that thyself by fueling the blows.
Serviceable Diligence, bring hither such prisoners as are in custody.
My diligence shall be applied very willingly. Pleaseth you, there are but 3 prisoners as far as I know, which are Lucre and Conscience, with a deformed creature much like Bifrons, and the base daughter of Juno.
No. Where is that wench Dissimulation?
He hath transformed himself after a strange fashion.
Fraud? Where is he become?
He was seen in the streets, walking in a citizen's gown.
What is become of Usury?
He was seen at the exchange very lately.
Tell me, when have you heard of Simony?
He was seen this day walking in Paul's, having a conference with very great familiarity with some of the clergy.
Fetch Lucre and Conscience to the bar.
Behold, worthy judge, here ready they are.
Stand. It's not me, is it? I'm not supposed to be this character at all, am I? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. I'm not Judge Nemo. Who is Judge Nemo?
Stand forth, Diligence. Divide them asunder.
Yeah, because I'm the clerk. Terribly sorry, everyone. I went from one judge to another. It was just I got confused. Lucre, thou art indicted by the name of Lucre to have committed adultery with Mercatore the merchant and Criticus the lawyer. Thou art also indicted for the robbery of Mercatore, lastly and chiefly for the consenting of the murder of Hospitality. What sayest thou? Art thou guilty or not in these causes?
Not guilty. Where are mine accusers? They may shame to show their faces. I warrant you none comes nor dare to discredit my name. In despite of the teeth of them that dare, I speak in this day.
Impudent! Canst thou deny deeds so manifestly known?
In denial stands trial. I shame not, let them be shown. It grinds my gall they should slander me on this sort. They are some old cankered, currish, corrupt cows that gave this report. My soul craves revenge on such secret foes, and revengement I will have, if body and soul I lose.
Thy hateful heart declares thy wicked life. In the abundance of thy abomination, all evils are rife. What sayest thou, conscience, to thy accusation, that art accused to have been bored unto Lucre, and spotted with all abomination?
What should I say? Nay, what would I say in this our naughty living?
Good conscience, if thou love me, say nothing.
Diligence, suffer her not to stand prating.
What letter is that in thy bosom, conscience? Diligence, reach it hither. Conscience, speak on. Let me hear what thou canst say, for I know in a singleness thou wilt at truth bewray.
My good lord, I have no way to excuse myself. She hath corrupted me by flattery on her accursed pelf. What need further trial, sith I, conscience, from 1,000 witnesses? I cannot choose but condemn us all in living amiss. Such terror doth affright me, that living I wish to die. I am afraid there is no spark left for me of God's mercy.
Conscience, where hadst thou this letter?
It was put in my bosom by Lucre, willing me to keep secret our lascivious living. I cannot but condemn us all in this thing.
Now, Malapert, stand you still in defence or no? This letter declares thy guilty conscience. How sayest thou? It's not so? Tell me, why standest thou in a maze? Speak quickly. Hadst thou thy tongue so liberal, and now stand to study?
Conscience, thou hast killed me. By thee I am overthrown.
It is happy that by conscience thy abomination is known. Wherefore I pronounce judgment against thee on this wise. Thou shalt pass to the place of darkness, where thou shalt hear fearful cries, weeping, wailing, gnashing of teeth, and torments without end, burning in the lake of fire and brimstone, because thou canst not amend. Wherefore, Diligence, convey her hence, throw her down to the lowest hell, where the infernal sprites and damned ghosts do dwell, and bring forth love. Declare the cause, conscience, at large now, how thou comest so spotted, whereby many by thee hath been greatly infected. For under the colour of conscience thou deceivest many, causing them to defile the temple of God, which is man's body. A clean conscience is a sacrifice, God's own resting place. Why wast thou then corrupted so, and spotted on thy face?
When Hospitality had his throat cut by Usury, he oppressed me with cruelty, and brought me to beggary, turning me out of house and home, and, in the end, my gown to pay my rent to him I did send. So driven to that extremity, I have fallen to what you see. Yet after judgment, I hope of God's mercy.
O conscience, shall cankered coin corrupt thy heart? Or shall want in this world cause thee to feel everlasting smart? O conscience, what a small time thou hast on earth to live! Why dost thou not, then, to God all honour give, considering the time is everlasting that thou shalt live in bliss, if by thy life thou rise from death to judgment, mercy, and forgiveness? Stand aside, conscience, bring love to the bar. Sayest thou to thy deformity, who was the cause?
Lady Lucre.
Did Lucre choke thee so, that thou gavest thyself over unto lust? Did prodigal expenses cause thee in dissimulation to trust? Thou wast pure, love, and art thou become a monster, bolstering thyself upon the lasciviousness of Lucre? Love, Answer for thyself. Speak in thy defence.
I cannot choose but yield, confounded by conscience.
Then judgment I pronounce on thee, because thou followed Lucre, whereby thou hast sold thy soul to feel like torment with her, which torments comprehended are in the worm of conscience, who raging still shall ne'er have end. A plague for thine offence! Care shall be thy comfort, and sorrow thy life sustain. Thou shalt be dying, yet never dead, but pining still in endless pain. Diligence, convey her to Lucre, let that be her reward, because unto her cankered coin she gave her whole regard. But as for conscience, carry her to prison, there to remain until the day of the general session. Thus we make an end, knowing that the best of us all may amend, which God grant to his good will and pleasure, that we be not corrupted with the insatiate desire of vanishing earthly treasure. For covetousness is the cause of resting man's conscience. Therefore restrain thy lust, thou shalt shun the offence.
And thus closes the play. Thus sums up Judge Nobody. Which so yeah, in the sense that nobody's going to try and arraign any of these people, or do arraign any of that. Which, it's so tricksy trying to decide what to make of some of this, because some of it's going, oh, that's quite clever, and then but Judge Nemo doesn't half go on in a very old school morality play kind of way. And is the audience supposed to think that his summing up is good? I mean, even for the period, is anyone really supposed to feel that Conscience and Lady Love were guilty in any way of anything? Because I don't think the play's presented that at all. I know that's the standard sort of the morality of it all. In this third of the play, we've really lent into various tropes that we see today. This idea of the deserving and the undeserving poor. These beggars who are out there and living it up, and of course, Simplicity is the one who's the only. He's so simple he can't actually, make a living out of it, and ends up getting whipped, and being implicated in a crime he didn't do. And this idea that it's all a scam, a criminal underground kind of thing.
Welfare queens.
Yeah, it's sort of living in that universe. Kind of, yeah. It's and that's before we even go over to Turkey. But we'll deal with that one slightly separately, I think. Thoughts on where we are in this train of thought, Alexandra?
Relating to this sort of final judgment, and we've encountered this in a lot of, especially in morality plays, but also in anything that has that as its flavor, this sort of conclusion that is almost, and that, boys and girls, is why you don't do drugs. So what I'm wondering is whether there's contemporary, there cannot be for the entire 600 years or however long we're looking at, but surely there are, at least at certain points, the equivalent of a Hays Code, right? This sort of required. Maybe it was written down, maybe people just knew about it by word of mouth and by way of what was approved by the Master of the Rebels and what got sent back. But, a system whereby if you want to put on a play like this, it's going to have to end with, the evildoers being punished. And because this particular play is, as we discussed in the previous second reading session, because it allows for more of the kind of natural aspect of humans just want to do what they want to do and what serves them. It's not, that doesn't make them evil. This kind of thing at the end sort of hits us as incongruous. But I support your idea of maybe it was supposed to be that way even at the time. Maybe it was just, and this is the warning on the cigarette packet that they made us put here so that we can sell it.
Well, yeah, because in lots of morality plays, the evildoers are never vanquished. Well, they're vanquished. They're very rarely killed or put to death or anything. They're
Yeah,
vanquished.
they're not destroyed. They're just punished.
They're punished in some level. So all of the primary movers of evil, shall we say, all of the vice characters, they're not here. They're off somewhere else, living at large. And who gets punished at the end? It's their victims, and that's really interesting. But the judges also judge no one, so it's like no one punishes the victim, or because it would be clever if nobody ever punishes the people. At the end, he punishes all the people who are guilty, because no judge ever does that, and that would sort of be. Whereas this is more slippery and weird, and I'm not quite sure what it's doing. Rachel.
There's that bit at the beginning of scene 17 where Judge Nemo is asking Diligence where the various actual wrongdoers are, and Diligence says, though they've gone to this part of the city, they've gone to that institution, that they're alive and well and functioning in the world of this play. Where what has become of Usury, he was gone to the exchange. What's become of Simony, he's walking St. Paul's. It's like the wrongdoers aren't being rounded up.
No. So yeah, it's and it's they punish the innocent. Pretty much. I mean, Lucre is more borderline. I think Lucre has agency in this, but I don't think conscience and love really. They really have no agency at all.
If we were to look at this from a little bit more of a Christian perspective, the clean principles, the kind of the virtuous, what should have been the virtues, but because they've been corrupted, they're getting, the judgment that is placed on them, including Lucre, is just to suffer, not the consequences of their actions, but the sort of the pangs of conscience, as it were, right? Feel the everlasting smart, right? So it's a kind of not biblical punishment. It's a kind of psychological, emotional, I guess, thing with presumably roots in theology, I imagine. About the worst thing that could come of this is that you will feel so sorry.
And love and conscience are noted as being marked. There is a sort of STD quality to their corruption, and it's implicated that they've maybe gone into sex work and to support themselves, but there's also that moral corruption being signified visually as well. Lynn.
Like conscience isn't. It's like we're going to hold you until next session, so that's sort of up in the air what happens to conscience. But Lucre, you go to jail. So I wonder if the play is trying to say, if only we didn't have cash money, that would fix everything, or if it's more sophisticated than that, it's saying, only in the completely impossible case of money being taken out of the equation are we going to be able to set society to rights. I mean, we can't get rid of money. I mean, the way money functions is problematic, and yes, and the pursuit of money causes a lot of problems, but it's not like even in 1600 or whenever this was written you could function without money. So it's sort of the impossible if we could only get rid of money. Well, if cows fly.
Rachel.
I think it's sort of resigned to that world, and the people who are going to be punished and not able to deal with the world of pelf are the simple ones. Simplicity is the one who's sent to have his flesh removed from his bones by whipping, right? If you can't deal with the new real world, you will suffer. It's an amorality play.
Yeah, and I'll go to Alan, then we'll move on to the next point of discussion, which is the Italian plot.
I mean, an interesting one. Alexandra has just highlighted the speech, "Care shall be thy comfort. Thou shalt be dying but never dead, yet pining still in endless pain." And this is mid-16th century, I think you said, as far as
1581. 1581 is a reasonably firm origination.
Right, because that seems to be a callback almost to the notion of purgatory, which was more a Catholic viewpoint than a Protestant. I must admit, I was thinking one could actually play the judge as being, an old Etonian in a three-piece suit, and after giving judgment goes off for a good lunch at the Garrick.
Well, no, I was seeing him more the sort of an ecclesiastical court sort of context as well, in the sense that it's about morality and money, and I think that's where the tension really lies in this play is that trying to square conventional Christian values with commerce and money lending and and trade and interest and all of these things that don't quite go together, because they're sort of not they lead to all of the stuff here, I think, which draws us towards Mercatore, because if you changed a few lines and changed the maybe some of the associations with some of the characters over there, the character of Gerontus there is not. I was afraid it was going to be much worse than that when you see a character labeled as a Jew. It leans into an idea of various Jewish stereotypes, but I'm not sure how vital that is to what the problems of what that scene is doing, because it's all about this loophole, the Christian turned Turk loophole that we have seen in various different plays. It turns up a lot, of this idea that if you renounce your religion, you can have all your debts basically committed. And I'm trying to think of a modern parallel with how that's functioning. It's about hypocrisy, and it's about what people are willing to, how far people are willing to go for money. And Mercatore actually only goes so far. He just sort of tries to talk the other guy into renouncing his debt, and then goes, "Okay, that's fine." And then he just pops off again. It's like, "Oh, I never did the paperwork, did I?"
There's something really strange about the fact that in his attempted conversion, Gerontus, am I wrong in thinking he is the Jewish character, right? So why would he value the Christianity of Mercatore enough to forgive him his debts?
I think it's a principle thing of him going, "Dude, you should really believe in your own faith more than this." I think he's just offended, as just someone who has a similar but different belief system. I'll go to Lynn and then come back.
Yeah, sorry, just before you do. Oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. The point that I was making with that question, and then I'll hand over to you in a second. The point I was making with that question is, if you lean into the fact that this is actually a positive representation of a person who would otherwise be stereotyped as a horrible human because they are both Jewish and a usurer, there is a use in these scenes, rather than them being a slightly problematic thing we need to step away from. That was all I was going to say. Thank you.
Yeah, Lynn.
Yeah, so I had the same question. It seems very odd to me that an observant Jew would be invested in someone sticking to their Christian faith. That's just really weird. I think part of it, though, is the early modern misunderstanding of Islam. And there are Christians, at least on this side of the herring pond, that still do not understand that Islam is an Abrahamic religion, that it acknowledges the same God, that it the Ten Commandments of Hebrew scripture are meaningful in Islam. The whole images thing, while you don't have representative art in Islam, is from that commandment. I mean, they didn't get that. They thought of Islam as being totally foreign and other and unrelated to Judaism and Christianity, which at least they kind of understood as being, the Christianity is sort of the revealed religion, but that Jews were still God's chosen people and were kind of our ancestors. So they didn't realize that Islam was connected to the other Abrahamic
you see this
religion.
in the depiction in Alphonsus with the big talking head, and it's everything's geared in a more paganistic kind of logic.
Yeah. So
I mean, there is part of me wondering also whether Mercatore, I mean, there are some plot elements that he's necessary for, but I'm kind of just thinking, do we need any of these scenes really? I mean, you need maybe that Lucre sends him off to do some trade and he's swindling some people abroad, because that's the point. He's just going over there saying, "Can you manufacture for me lots of really rubbish goods?" And I keep leaning back and thinking, oh, it's a bit like it's a bit like China before the world, coming into the world trade sort of logic of we think we can swindle these people over here, and actually they're a bit more clued in than you think they are, and that feeds into the same sort of problematic tropes that we have today. And so I'm wondering if there's some utility there in the way that world trade today functions within the context of this play. Alan, then Lynn.
I must admit, I'm just wondering, because both Mercatore and Gerontus are not fully integrated into the plot, as you just said. And I just wonder whether they're just part of the standard trope of British theatre, drama, film, whatever, over centuries of, let's stick in a comic foreigner or two. And then we can just all laugh at them.
I don't think so, because I don't think there's that much evidence of that as a stock character much before this sort of period. I'm trying to think back to really any. It's a thing that will be in Elizabethan theatre from around this point onwards, but I don't think it has any. We have any evidence of such characters. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head while I'm saying these words. I don't think so. I think there is definitely some business being done here. I don't think England was cosmopolitan enough, frankly, until the mid century, for that to register in that fashion.
I'm just thinking.
It was most assuredly not in terms of Jewish people being allowed to exist in Britain. So that's, the reason for the stereotyping there is very much because that was an alien thing.
But also just on the mercantile nature of the trade routes and the people coming and going. I'm not sure until we hit this point in history that this kind of representation would make sense to. I'm thinking back to early Tudor and medieval. I'm not so sure that would be landing for an audience.
I don't know if actually that might be something that we're projecting from our modern perspective, because they were. This is 100 years after they went across the pond and found some islands and declared it India and all of this. So they were trading as far as India in one direction, or at least knew where it was. And they were swindling the quote unquote people of the Indies in the other direction, exactly in this way of let's give them baubles and take away their gold. Right? That was the at least the English perspective on what the Spanish were doing.
Yeah, but in terms of English engagement with it is something that Elizabeth is projecting and working on. Elizabeth is much more actively building those trade routes as a Protestant nation. I'd say in terms of cultural impact, I'm not sure that that's there prior to this historical moment. And I can't think of anything in any previous play where that exists.
So could this be the trendsetter?
This is, I think, in the generation of the trendsetter. I mean, there's a lot of plays that follow and are in this decade that are doing this kind of labour, but I don't think there's much earlier than that. But I could be wrong. I will have a little rummage. Lynn.
Yeah, I was going to say about the Mercatore subplot as well. I mean, we have the anti-Islam thread, and we have the anti-Semitic thread, but there's also misogyny built in there too, although it's touched on kind of lightly, the clientele for all these vain luxury goods that Mercatore deals in is specifically women. He says it's his the customers for all this frippery are women, like too much money and too much time on their hands. So yeah, I mean it's sort of unsavory on all those levels.
Mm. And that's again, that's when we get into that question of, you know, the air quotes, I'm putting them in again, of satire, of how much of this is a deliberate look at a series of stereotypes and throwing them around and playing with them, and how much of that is critical and how much of that is simply playing into stereotypes that will therefore get a laugh. And I think this text is disturbingly complicated, actually, by what it's doing, because I think it is having its cake and eating it at times. But I think it is also trying to make a moral and intellectual points as well. And I certainly think it landed a lot better than the first time we read it, when we simply went and ran away from it. Which is a legitimate response, certainly for a modern audience. I mean, there's still that question of what comes out the other end of this in a modern performance, because I think there is the basis of something here. I think there is a shape here that could work, because I think there is definitely a critique of capital, which I think resonates. It's just there's a lot of other stuff in there as well, and how you frame that is a question. Alexandra.
Yes, relating to that. So thinking back a little bit more on the Mercatore sort of line of things, this is not exclusively at a point in time, but generally a period when Venice is becoming very successful and incredibly mercantile, and they are known to allow Jewish people with limited conditions and also to be trading with the Ottomans whilst also warring with them. So I wonder whether the representation of Mercatore as Italian and going to Venice to do all this trade is sort of, you know, attacking the up and coming commercial power of the time, or satirizing, you know, the up and coming commercial power of the time that isn't Philip of Spain, who's also got a massive army and is right next door. Because you could make exactly the same kinds of jokes, including things about religious, not duplicity, about, well, I guess, yeah, people who are duplicitous about their religion and who use it to their advantage instead of actually believing. You could do all of that with relation to Spain and the New World, but it might be way too risky. Whereas in this way, you can sort of, you know, at the time, they could have addressed, I guess, these points in a less harmful way. My question is, would that, if as we're saying, that doesn't necessarily transfer into a modern production, would that take a lot of fronting and rearranging to try and create modern equivalences? Would things like the usurer, usury, fraud, and all these other characters, would there need to be a lot of alteration in order to make them fit into the mold of things that we would understand in a modern production?
I think it's absolutely true that the names won't land, but I think what they do mostly would. I think there is an explication element that might need to be put in there, and we can always change some of the names. It's not like any of the verse is regular, so it's not like when you got really ramrod straight blank verse and you're going, I can't change their name because it will ruin the scansion. It's just no, it's fine. It's all over the place. We can change anybody's name. But I think the concepts they inhabit. I mean, there's part of me also wondering if it wasn't for the awkwardness that it's the title of the play. Do we need 3 ladies? Could we just have 2?
So are they Conscience, Love, and Lucre? Is that who they are?
Yeah, I kind of feel that Love and Conscience kind of have the same journey. Really, I'm not sure that they're doing that much different. And as Love basically disappears for the entire play because she's doubling with Lucre, apart from the scene where she's got a mask on, it's Yeah,
Yeah, they
it's
are
part of
very
it.
different as principles, but if you got rid of love and kept conscience as a modern audience have more of a concept of,
Mm,
that being, conscience being a thing that will plague you and that you will suffer when you make bad choices. So
mm.
maybe that's the one to keep.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's, apart from the awkwardness, you then need to come up with a new title of the play. But it's a minor thought. It's just I was also thinking about do we need all of the vices? Can we reduce? What? Especially as we're looking at quite a tight number of actors potentially here. 7 or 8 but is there an even tighter thing? Because I'm disinclined to spend a lot of money exploring this text. To bring things round to capital again. Alan.
One thought that's just occurred to me, which is somewhat tangential to what we've been discussing. Scene 13, which is the three beggars,
Mm.
could almost be done as a standalone sketch in its own right.
Mm.
And it actually works. And it's got a somewhat different feel to much of the rest of it, in terms of almost all of it could be sung.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
starts with the song, but the sing-song rhythms are maintained through much of that scene.
I mean, the only real problem I have there is that's almost a standalone, more objectionable scene than quite a lot of the others. Because on the surface, it's quite harmless, but it's one of the elements of the play where I'm going, I'm not sure politically where you're coming from here. It sounds like you're saying that all beggars are basically just fraudsters, and I'm not sure what to do with that. Certainly isolated from the matrix of this play, I don't think I'd want to put it on as a standalone piece. Actually, I don't think it does a huge, terrible, traumatic harm, but I think it does an intellectual disservice to pretty much everyone. Anyway, I'm not going to go around the room for final thoughts. I think we have mulled it over. And I think this is one where careful work and trimming and working through and workshopping to find a route through. I'm sure there's a straightforward, academically focused production that could be done for a very narrow audience that is very, very keyed up to what the play is doing. But I think if you're going to turn this into a more open-handed text, it's going to go through some filters. But all that remains, thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. It grinds my gall.